Hello friends, I'm excited to talk to you about our new children and youth programming for the fall. And I would just want to explain some of what our plans are in case you weren't able to be at our Zoom meetings about this. I'm proposing a children and youth program for Fraser Mennonite kids that I'm calling the FMC Peacemakers. Now, I know in our conversations in 2019, when we were envisioning for the future, back before COVID hit, there was a clear concern that we had for our children and youth. We want to share our values with them. We want to make church a safe and welcoming place. We want this to be community for them. Now, we already do this in worship, or we try to. We try to include everyone in worship at all levels. We're mindful of little ears, so we're careful how we talk about things. We have a special children's moment for 3 to 5-year-olds, and we do that with the understanding pre-COVID that they go to the nursery after that. And then our kids volunteer at all levels, everything from ushering to reading scripture, and some of our kids have even preached. In Sunday school, we include our kids by teaching the biblical story and our Anabaptist values. What I'm proposing with FMC Peacemakers is an evening children and youth program that happens one time a month for kids grades kindergarten through 12. And my goals for FMC Peacemakers is that we build community for our kids so that they develop lifelong relationships, they have fun with each other, and they practice living out their Anabaptist values with joy and creativity. Now, this is not second Saturday. Connecting groups will not meet at the church while FMC Peacemakers is happening. Our program on the first Saturday of every month is exclusively for our children and youth ages kindergarten to 12. And this is not Sunday school either. So our kids are going to be broken up somewhat differently. And I'm also going to have kids intermingle with other groups so that sometimes the kindergarten through second graders are together, and sometimes they join with the third to fifth graders for a project, depending on what we're doing. But again, our focus is on community building, having fun, and activating the values that we've been teaching our kids. FMC Peacemakers is going to replace Bobcats, Bob Kittens, and the youth group. Now, we've had some barriers to kids programming in the past. Because a lot of us live so far away from church, we have to build in volunteer time of up to 45 minutes on either side of our volunteering. So that takes a lot. Leadership on a program like this can feel really daunting, and I've seen folks burn out and face a lot of criticism or feel overwhelmed. So my goal with this is to take on leadership only for this year with the help of our intern, Allie, who's coming in, and provide the resources so that folks can just come in and volunteer and not have to do a ton of prep work. And then my goal is to then raise up some leaders in the congregation that will take this on for next year. So, our FMC Peacemakers will meet in the church on the first Sunday of the month, and we're making a few exceptions for holidays. And that exception is the first Saturday in September. We're moving to September 11th because of the Labor Day weekend. And then the first Saturday in January, we're moving to the 2nd because of New Year's. And then in October, we're skipping because that's when our church retreat is. But these are the dates listed, and I invite you to get those on your calendar now. So this is what a typical schedule is going to look like for the FMC Peacemakers. Kids will arrive at 5:30. Adults will drop off the kids unless they're on schedule to volunteer, which I'll get to later. From 5:30 to 6, kids will share a meal together of pizza and veggies, and we'll have options for folks who are vegetarian and gluten-free, but we're going to keep it simple. And we'll invite families to throw some money in the basket to help with the cost of the pizza. From 6 to 6:15, kids will break up into their groups. So K to 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 12, and they'll talk about the theme that we have for the week. And then from 6:15 to 6:45, they'll work on a group activity. So again, they might be broken up into smaller groups or they might join into a larger group. It kind of depends on what's happening. And then from 6:45 to 7, the kids K to 5 are going to sing together. So we'll have some song leaders teaching kids songs about peace. And then our 6th to 8th graders and 9th to 12th graders are going to work on participating in a spiritual practice. What I'm hearing from our youth, our older youth, is that they want to practice spiritual practices to prepare them for adulthood. And then parents pick up their kids at 7. So it's a short program, and I know that that will be enough for younger kids and probably not enough for older kids. So I'm going to encourage parents throughout the year to schedule, particularly for our high schoolers, opportunities to gather together. Maybe it's a bonfire at someone's house, or maybe it's ice skating or some sort of activity that each family can sponsor. So here are some examples of themes for the year. And these aren't set in stone, but these are just some examples that I'm working with. One is peacemakers love our neighbors. So we might have an activity where we have folks from Bridge of Hope talk to us about what homelessness is, and then we do a project to help support folks experiencing homelessness in our area. Another one is that as peacemakers, we care about people who are sick. So we would encourage our youth to make cards and pictures to send to folks in our congregation who are sick. And then finally, peacemakers learn about the world that God created. I would love to see our kids go to Pickering Creek and understand water systems and how caring and preserving for those are an act of love for God and each other. Okay, so here's what we need to make this successful. Each family whose child or youth is an FMC peacemaker needs to be on the volunteer schedule twice a year. If all of your kids are kindergarten and older, we'd ask that if you have 2 adults in your family, that they both be on the schedule. If you have a pre-K kid, we'll only ask that one of the adults in your family be on the schedule. And then the volunteers are assigned to help with dinner, aid in a smaller group, supervise kids' activities, or help lead singing. We also need congregational volunteers. We need the expertise of our congregation to help with some of these projects we're working on. That's a great way to build community and interest as well. And then we also need leaders. So we have some leaders right now, and I'm working on getting the rest of the lineup. So you might hear more about that from us. A couple other questions that I've heard is, what do we do about COVID? And right now the plan is for September and November to meet outdoors and work on projects outdoors. And then from there, we're going to have to figure that out. And that's unfolding, and so I want to be flexible with that. Some other questions are about clearances. So all of the adults who are volunteering will need to have clearances, and I'll work with families on that, but that is our hope and expectation. And finally, like I said earlier, my goal is to not do this next year, but just to start a program and remind us that this can be done and this doesn't have to be too hard, and then involve other folks to help make this program continue. So thanks for listening. I'm going to attach to this video in an email a link for families to sign up, and get some information about your kids and your ability to volunteer. And so I hope that you'll fill that out. So thank you so much for listening and for your enthusiasm around this program. Your enthusiasm is infectious to your kids. So I hope that you'll share your joy and enthusiasm about that with your kids. Thanks.